Hi everyone, Anat Kessler here with a new video tutorial, and today we are making a heart slider card. So you have a link to the measurements in the description under the video. Like always, you can go ahead, click that, and download all the measurements and the instructions. So we're going to start with piece A, fold it in half like this. I'm using black cardstock, but you can use whatever color cardstock you want. And now we're going to measure from the folded edge. We're going to measure 1/2 inch, and we're going to draw a pencil line. So it's best to measure 2 points, because with 2 points you always get a straight line. Okay, so that's the first step. Second, we're going to measure 3/8 of an inch from the left edge, or this is going to be the bottom, and exactly the same thing on the right. We're going to draw a line from the line, the drawn pencil line, to the edge, and then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Measure 3/8 of an inch and draw a line from the edge to the drawn pencil line like this. So these are guidelines for us to do some cutting. So first we're going to cut on that little side here from the edge to the pencil line, the vertical pencil line, while the paper is folded, you see, like this on both sides. Now we're going to open the paper and cut along these pencil lines, but only on one side wherein the paper is opened. Very important not to cut on the other side of the paper as well, or the cardstock. You can use a craft knife. I do it with scissors. It's faster for me. Up to you how you want to cut along the pencil lines. So this is what we're going to get at the end. Basically, we're going to fold the outside on the back side of the paper towards the inside, the front. So we're going to score along the cut edges and then fold like this. This is going to be the top and the bottom of the card, and that left part is going to be the stopper. It's going to make sense, I promise. So you have to repeat this process with the other 3 pieces, B, C, and D. You have all the measurements and everything in the instructions, you will see. Now we're going to measure from the left side, not from where the tab is, but from the other side. We're going to measure 2 3/4. Basically what we're finding is the center of the card without the right part, that sticky tab part. So it doesn't look like the center, but if you consider only the square without the tab, you'll see it's exactly the center. So mark 2 3/4. This is the center if you hide that. Hope it makes sense. Now we're going to take a piece of white paper. You have the measurements in the guide, and we're going to fold it in half and cut out a heart shape. So you can trace a heart, you can print it, whatever. I've just eyeballed it. And then we're going to put that tab on the left and then center the heart on that center line and trace it. This is going to be the front of the card. That tab is going to be on the left, and we're going to trace the heart with the pencil. keep that heart. We're going to need it. Keep that piece of heart with the white paper. Now we're going to cut out that drawing of a heart and basically create a window in the front of the card. So I always like to create a little slit with a craft knife and then go in with some scissors to cut around the lines. So this is my heart window. This is how it looks. And I remind you, we work on piece A. Now let's bring in piece B, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to measure 2 3/4 from the left side to find the center, because we are going to create another heart window in the front of this card as well. But now we need it to be a little smaller. So I'm taking that heart and I'm going to trim it to reduce its size by about less than 1/4 of an inch, let's say 3/8 of an inch. So I'm simply cutting around the heart, making it smaller by 3/8 of an inch. So now we need to find the center. We need, you see this, the white heart is smaller than the black heart that we cut out from the first piece A. So I'm going to center piece B under piece A like this, center it, and then mark the 2 dots of the hearts, the top and the bottom. This way I can center my heart in between those 2 dots and then make sure that it's in the middle. And then I'm going to trace around the heart like I did before and cut it out to make a window. So now the window's aligned. And then I'm going to continue the exact same thing with piece C and D, measuring 2 3/4, aligning the smaller piece under the larger piece to mark where the heart is supposed to go, center the heart, trace it. Don't forget to reduce its size every time by 3/8 of an inch, and then cut it out to create a window. So all 4 pieces should have that window, heart window in the front. Okay, so now it's time to start assembling the card. So this time we're going to start with the smallest piece. This is piece D. So I'm going to align my cover paper with the window and trace it. Trace the heart so I can cut out the same size heart from the cover paper. Again, using scissors. You can use a craft knife if it's more comfortable to you. Now it fits exactly. And you have the measurements for the cover papers in the guide, the description under the video. So I'm going to cover the front of piece D. We're working on piece D now. Okay. So now the front of piece D is covered. We need to close it. So we have our tabs here, the top and the bottom tabs. We're going to apply glue and attach them while the card is folded close, like this. So you fold the top and the bottom, make sure they are secured and glued properly, like this. So this is piece D. It is ready. Now let's bring piece C, which is the next in size, and we're going to repeat the process. We're going to cut out the heart. We're going to trace it on the cover paper. Put the cover paper aside for a minute. Close the piece with the tabs on the top and the bottom. I'm going to glue them and secure them and hold them until they are properly glued. Okay. Now, we still haven't added that cover paper. We're going to insert piece D inside piece C. We're going to trim that tab a little bit because it's going to be a little bit too big. It needs to be inserted comfortably in there, and it's going to need to slide in and out very easily like this. You see how the hearts align? Now you see that when you insert the card, there are gaps inside card C because obviously card D is smaller. So what we need to do is bring two little strips and attach them to card C, and these are closing strips or stopping strips. They're going to stop card D from sliding out. So when we pull it, these two little guys are going to stop it. Make sure that you align them with the edge when you glue them so they won't interfere with the card sliding out. So it's best to slide it out a little bit and then know where to attach them. You see, they stop. I can't pull it anymore. So this is the secret behind the slider card. So now we can go ahead and add our cover paper to piece D. And what we're going to do is repeat this process with piece B and with piece A. Each time we're going to prepare the cover paper, close the tabs, add the stopping or the closing strips after inserting the card inside, and then move to the next part. It's always going to be slightly bigger, so don't forget to trim it. So it should be very easily inserted into the card because it needs to slide. And then you add the strips aligned with the edges, not interfering with the sliding motion. And then you can go ahead and cover. Always check. It's a little bit hard to move in the beginning, but after a while it becomes easier. And then finally piece A, I'm going to do that. So it's a little bit of work, but it's worth it. It's a really impressive card. Okay, so let's insert that, trim it, insert it, add the closing strips, making sure they're aligned with the edge and they don't interfere with the sliding motion. And then this is how our card looks so far. See? Isn't that cool? Now it will be maybe a little bit hard to insert back. It needs to be straight. But after a while it gets easier. Okay. So for our final part, we have the outside card that everything is going to go inside it. So we're going to start with the back side, and we're going to score it at ½ inch on both sides, and then on the short side at 3/8 of an inch, like this. So we're going to fold on all the score lines, and then we're going to cut the corners. Basically what we're going to create is a giant pocket for the entire card to fit inside, because we want the card to slide but without seeing that tab that is now visible. And then this is the front piece that is going to go on top to create that pocket. So this is going to go on the inside. So what we need to do is cut a heart, and for that you have a second white paper. Again, we're going to measure 2 3/4 from the left side, and then mark the pencil line. Then we'll need to align the heart because we need to create a heart window here as well. So you take the other square piece, and I'm using the first heart that we cut from piece A. This is the largest one, and then I'm going to trace half of it on the paper and then increase its size by approximately 3/8 of an inch, so it will be compatible with its size to all the other hearts that we already have. So this needs to be the biggest one. So now we have the heart, we can trace it onto the front, and I'm just aligning it again to make sure that it aligns with the other hearts. I want to see exactly that the top of the heart and the bottom of the heart are basically aligned with the window that I have already. So now I want to trace that heart onto the cover paper. Now when I've attached the cover paper to the front, and I'm applying glue to the tabs to create the pocket. So basically it's the same process. We're going to create that pocket, bring 2 closing strips, insert the card inside that pocket, and then close it with the strips so it will not be able to slide out completely. So we're going to trim the tab a little bit like usual, insert this inside here like this. See how they all match? And then we're going to add the strips. Oh, I forgot. We still need to add a little tab to the first smallest side of the card, so we'll be able to pull it easily. So I'm just taking paper, folding it in half, trimming the corners, and then I'll be able to add that to piece D. This is basically piece D. It's the smallest piece. So we're going to attach this pulling tab to it so it will be easier to pull the slider card. Just apply glue to both sides and then attach it to the card, aligning it with the center like this. Now we can insert the entire card into the pocket and then add the strips to stop the sliding motion so it won't go out completely. Just making sure that I don't interfere with the motion. Now this is a mistake, and why? Because I have forgotten to add the strips before covering the front. So it's a good thing it happened, so you'll see how to fix it. You need to add the closing strips before you cover the front of the card with the cover paper, so it will be able to hide it. But since I forgot to do that, now I have 2 little black squares, so I need to hide them. So what I do, I simply cut a strip of pattern paper, and I'm going to glue it to hide those black little squares. There are hardly any mistakes when you work. When you create something, there are hardly any mistakes that you can't fix. You can always fix any mistakes that you make. So this is an example of one mistake. So basically, when you make this card, at this point, add the closing strips and then add the front cover paper. So this is the card. I really hope you like this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the little bell icon so you will be notified when I upload a new video, so you'll be able to follow all the tutorials and make all the projects. So I really hope you like this tutorial. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you next time.